almost there.
Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw. In this video, I'm going to answer the 39, yes, exactly 39 most confusing muscle building questions. Before I get into that topic, if you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. The best topic ideas I turn into videos just like this. All right, yesterday on the community tab of this channel, I asked you guys to post what is your most what is the most confusing aspect of muscle building. And I got like 17,000 pages here. I'm going to try to knock through them real quick. Going to be a long video, but I'm going to try to snap through them really quickly and give a nice semi-intelligent, we'll try to be semi-intelligent brief answer. All right, number one. What actually drives progress? Is it total tonnage accumulated over time? And how to best manipulate volume, intensity, and frequency in the most optimal way for me. Number one, tonnage is a byproduct of proper training. It's like time under tension. You don't have to, you don't have to worry about tonnage. If you have a reasonable exercise selection, a reasonable amount of volume, then tonnage will take care of itself. What drives hypertrophy, you don't have to worry about volume, intensity, and frequency, and all manipulating all these variables. Way too fucking overcomplicated. All you need to do is have a good exercise selection, reasonable exercise selection, a reasonable amount of weekly volume. You need to have some sort of progressive overload. You're not chasing strength for strength's sake, but you're trying to progress or improve over last time. Try to control the weight. Take at least one set per exercise for as many quality reps as you can. And the big thing, which is underrated, is to be consistent with your training. You need to do this for 5-10 years, and you need to take your nutrition seriously. Everything else is just way overthinking. All right, next question. I'm an emergency room nurse, and I don't even know what these are. I didn't read them beforehand, so they could be trolling, all right? The most confusing aspect for me is how crackheads who care nothing about health can be jacked. Crackheads are jacked while I work my ass off. Maybe they're lean, but they're definitely not jacked. Your definition of jacked and my definition of jacked is a little bit different. I've never seen a jacked crackhead. Maybe some lean people from not eating because they're on crack. All right, next question. For me, it was the fact nobody cares when I talk about lifting. Yeah, you need a group of better friends, amigo. You need to just find some people that are, I don't know. What I would do is round up, just create a list of your friend circle and just start going through them one by one and just weed out all the non-lifters. Just get rid of all the non-lifters. Just flush them out of your life or something like that. All right, next. You don't grow in the gym. Diet and rest. So this is a confusing part. It's oversimplified. You don't grow in the gym. Well, you don't grow in the gym. You don't magically grow as you're knocking out a set, but you grow when you recover. You grow from the effort. There's an effort, and then there's a result from the effort. A result from the effort, and your body adapts to the effort, so you come back stronger. And diet and rest are important with this, recovery. Too many people don't take their nutrition seriously. Too many people don't take their rest seriously. The guys I know that are generally crushing it had a period of time when they took their rest and their nutrition very, very seriously. All right, next. Diet, bulking, and cutting, and managing strength, size, and aesthetics, trying to find a happy balance. There is no balance, okay? You have to not try to do 10 things at a time. Here's a key, like, I want to bulk, I want to cut, I want to main gain, I want to maintain, I want to maintain, I want to stay and gain, I want to do all this stuff at the same time. I want to build strength while losing 200 pounds, and I want to gain 200 pounds without losing strength, and we're doing all these things at the same time. Slow down. One thing at a time. Focus. The more you focus on one thing at a time, the more successful you're going to be at it. That goes for lifting, that goes for life. So don't try to do main gaining, maintaining, staying gaining, maintaining, main painting, main gaining, masturbating, or whatever you're doing all at the same time. All right? do your bulk for like 10 pounds over 3, 4, 5 months, and then maybe do a mini cut of 10 pounds and repeat the cycle. Over the course of a year, that's going to get you to where you need to go. And if you're confused by this, check out my book over at Super Living Today called, just search bulking, massive bulking. All right, next one. Confused by calorie intake. Pretty simple. You step on the scale probably every other day when you're trying to figure things out, and you eat pick a number. I don't know anything about you, but whoever you guys are, if you're trying to pick out calories, pick a number. 2,500, 2,700, 3,000, 3,200, doesn't matter where you start. We're going to weigh ourselves every other day, and we're going to see what that scale does, and we're going to nail consistency with our calories, okay? So, if you nail consistency with your calories and your weight's going up too fast, then you pull back calories a little bit, and then you watch the scale. Okay, if you're consistent with your calories and weight's not doing anything, then you need to increase your calories a little bit. We're going to make small scientific adjustments. So it's all about being consistent with your calories and tracking your weight and then making adjustments, and you can figure things out from there. All right, next one, strength versus hypertrophy. Everybody talks about train either for strength or hypertrophy. No, it's the same thing. It's the same thing for the first several years. You don't go in and start training for strength with low rep sets. That's nonsense. It's the same thing. It's power building. It's what I teach. It's what I'm about. Building as much strength as muscle and muscle as humanly possible. Don't worry about all that stuff. Okay? Good form. Focus on improving your form, controlling the weight. Don't focus on gaining strength, but focus on progressing over next time. It's super simple. Once you are at about 80 to 90% of where you really want to be, strength or muscle-wise, yes, then you can kind of assess weaknesses. If you're after the perfect, body, the perfect degree of aesthetics and proportions, right? Not many of us are, really. At that point, if you want to train for strength, yeah, there's other things you can do, concurrent periodization and messing around with forms of periodization and lower rep sets. But for most of you, we don't ever have to worry about it. It's the same process. So that's all right. Next one, muscle adaptation. If other factors are on point, food, rest, but still not growing, am I working too hard? No. Am I not working hard enough? Probably. You're probably not patient enough, and you're probably not working hard enough on a consistent basis. I've said this before, but you really kind of got to analyze your strength levels, and this might trigger a few of you, but if you are doing 40 pounds on dumbbell bench and you're resting, you're nailing your nutrition, that's not a lot of strength. That's not a lot of strength to trigger a lot of muscle, so you probably need a couple more years in the gym. All right, next. It's not so common to bench 225 while being natty below 200. Yeah, I kind of made a video about this, how it's very, not that it's never going to happen, but it's pretty rare to see somebody under 200 bench 315 or more. So it definitely can be done. I did it, and, a lot of guys do it. It just takes smart training. It takes pinpoint nutrition, and it takes a lot of consistency and making everything that you can as strong as possible. All right, moving on. That we want things to matter more than they actually do. Yes, this is a big one. We really want things to matter. Like, we train to failure. This has got to matter. Or volume's got to matter. If it's not calories or diet quality, progressive overload happening, and consistency, it probably doesn't mean anything in the long run. Right. There are pillars of success that I teach that basically power any workout. They power any workout. And there are things that are okay to use. You don't need drop sets to be successful. You don't need rest pause to be successful. You don't need extra volume to be successful. What you need is the basics. So people do obsess about things that they elevate things and give them more meaning than they actually have. All right, next. The most confusing is heated program debates. If there's a best program without proper use of it, is it still useless? Well, if there is no best program. So it's kind of it's a debate and discussion that doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. There is no best program. There's only, you start with a program. There's a best program for you, but the only way to find that is to get into the gym, attack the weights, see what you like, what you don't like. Let's say, what do I mean? Barbell rows, don't like them. You try pendlay rows, you like them. Boom. Dumbbell rows, you find 3 sets takes too long, so you move to 2 sets. You're like me, you find I don't really like 10 rep sets of dumbbell rows. I'm going to move them to 15. These are okay tweaks, right? But you're developing a program based on what's going on in the gym and what you like and you don't like. So there is a best program, but it's found by actually going into the gym and working hard. All right. Next, how much stronger you actually need and can get. I thought if you had a 2-plate bench, 3-plate dead, you were on roids, LOL. No, not really. I know women that do that. I've trained women that do that. So, nope, definitely not. Next, the hardest is finding out what kind of training style works best or better for a specific person. I just touched on this, and he went on to say, heavy duty, high volume, calisthenics. Calisthenics, man, you got to really be a freak at calisthenics to grow. So let's toss that out. The hardest is, he said, the hardest is finding out what kind of program style works best for you. I just told you how to do that. That's through effort. That's through training evolution. This is a pillar of success. All right, next, nutrition by far. It's what I struggle with and have struggled with, especially an obese person who wants to get strong. Look, if you're obese, I'm saying this politely, you need to stop fucking worrying about getting strong and start worrying about losing the fucking weight. Get the fat off. Get the fat off and stop trying to get strong while losing fat. You're running 2 races in the opposite direction. You still want to go into the gym and train properly, okay? And I'm not saying you can't gain a little bit of muscle. I'm not saying you can't get strength. But you need to focus on getting the fat off. Not confusing at all. Get the fat off, get it off, and then move on to the rest of the next 9 years of training. The guys that have results are training hard 5 to 10 years. You need to get the fat off as quick as you can so you're in a better position for your health, and then we'll move on and worry about optimal strength and muscle building training. All right, next. You've got to train hard, but not too hard. You really can't train too hard if you're training hard. If you're training hard, you know what time, it's time to get out of the gym. You can't, like, if you're training hard and you're like on set 11 for the day or set 15 for the day, there's not a lot left in the tank, so you kind of know where you're at. I don't know anybody that trains too hard. If they're training too hard, they're doing a lot of junk, useless volume and beating up their body, but not really engaged in the true muscle building process. All right, next up. I don't fully understand the differences and drivers between hypertrophy and strength. Same thing. It's the same thing, again, for you guys the first 5 to 10 years. There's no difference. There are things you do to build optimal strength while you're at 80 to 90%, but there's no real difference building your base. And also creating your own program. You shouldn't really create your own program when you're a beginner. You should use a reputable program because, look, far too many guys create their own programs right out of the gate, and they're just like, it looks like a monkey took poo and threw it against the wall, and that's what you're going to get. You're going to get that kind of output, that kind of art. You need to take a reasonable program, run it in the gym, and do training evolution. Find out what you like and what you don't like, what feels good on your body and what doesn't. Don't go creating your own program, okay? It's like a monkey throwing shit against the wall. You're going to get shit art. All right, next, that many people see training as do X sets of Y reps as a goal instead of a guideline. Right. There's no magic set in rep schemes. You have to have a structure, a reasonable structure. But like no set and rep schemes are magic. There's no magic, I'm going to have X sets and Y reps to create. It doesn't work like that. All right, next up. The overcomplication of the process. I'm sure there are reasons to really get down to the minutia details, but I have found that the most success from training hard and then just trying out myself from the last session. Yeah, overcomplication. People try to replace drive and consistency with overcomplication. Look at somebody that's not getting results and ask them a question. Have you been consistent? Like you, if you're not getting the results you want, have you been consistent the last 3 years? Like 3 years in a row, okay? Have you been consistent? Have you been consistent 2 years in a row? Are you pushing for your plus ones? Are you nailing your nutrition? okay? There's always other variables that people aren't getting the results they want, but they don't look at the obvious. All right. We're moving forward, all right? We're going to do all these. We're just going to blow up the algorithm, make a 8,000-minute video, and we'll just see if anybody sticks around and watches it. All right, next. The fact that volume, intensity, and frequency are all extremely divisive topics. Look, volume, intensity, and frequency are 3 points of a triangle. Volume, intensity, and frequency. In programming, when you increase one, you have to kind of decrease the other. So if you increase volume, you can't do it all with intensity. Intensity is weight relative to your 1 rep max. So if you increase volume, you got to dial back the percentage of your training, unless you're athlete X and then he thinks you can do like a 10 by 10 on squats with 85%. Can't do it, all right? So most people that are arguing volume, intensity, and frequency don't understand that they are 3 points of a triangle. And when you raise one, you have to lower one or two of the other. All right, next, why people can't put their plates or other equipment back after finishing using them. Look, I'm going to be honest, 50% of the world, I don't even know how to change a light bulb. I really don't. I'll just leave it at that. Next, is it so simple that it makes it so hard? Yeah, is it muscle building? It's so simple that it makes it hard. When it's not happening, like I just said, we look for reasons why it's not happening other than the obvious reasons, the basic reasons. Most of us are guilty when we first start off of overthinking everything. Yes, don't overthink everything. If something's not broken, it's usually broken in the basics. All right, we're rolling along. I was confused why I didn't start looking like Ziz in my first few months. Yeah, I don't even look like Ziz after 38 months or 38 years. All right, rep ranges. I know I need to train in all of them. No, you don't need to train in all of them. You don't. They're a little bit overrated. You need to adapt the rep range to the exercise. And when you go in the gym, if you don't like working in that rep range on that exercise, then you adjust it for that exercise, okay? So don't worry about rep ranges. Just use reasonable rep ranges. Like, I'm going to do it, say you want to do 6 to 8 on bench. Is that reasonable? Ask yourself a question. Is that a reasonable rep range? Yes, it's a reasonable rep range for hypertrophy. You don't have to use that rep range on every exercise because that's kind of dumb. That's kind of dense, right? We don't be like, I like rep range 6 to 8, so I'm going to use rep range 6 to 8 on every exercise because it's magical rep range 6 to 8, right? Don't do that. Don't be that guy. If you use 6 to 8, right, and you go into the gym on bench, you're like, I don't like 6 to 8. I like 7 to 9. It's okay. It's still a reasonable rep range. All right. Finding the macros and meal timing to be able to cut without being hungry. Okay. When you are trying to cut, the first thing you want to do is try to eat less before 5 o'clock. I'm not telling you to go intermittent fasting, but try to reduce the amount of food you eat before 5 o'clock. This will help. Actually, this will help you feel less hungry in general. You just have to give it a few days, but trust it. Next, try to get your protein intake as close as you can to 40% of your calories. Next, focus on eating plant-based. Focus on lean meats as much as possible, lean protein sources as much as possible, and plant-based foods. I'm not talking about eating your veggies. Plant-based foods. What do I eat for plant-based foods? I eat berry mix. I eat asparagus. I eat mushrooms, onions, a lot of hot peppers, things like that that add food volume, tomatoes. So if you're basically in the lean meat zone, and you're complementing that with a lot of plant-based foods, you're going to be okay. You're going to have a lot of satiety. Now, macros don't really matter much. Just keep your protein. Try to get your protein as close as you can. It's not magic getting it to 40% of your calories, but as close as you can to 40% of your calories. And part of a cut is just sucking it up, buttercup. So, I feel hungry. Yeah, it's a cut. Did you think you were going to enter a cut and not feel hungry? Suck it up. Okay, dig deeper. All right, consistent results while not getting injured. You're going to get strains and pains and niggles and wiggles and tweaks and twerks and all that kind of stuff. It's lifting. You're working your body physically. So that stuff can happen. There are some guys out there that think they're never going to get a niggle, a twiggle, a tweak, a twerk, a strain, a pain, or, every time they get one, they're like, oh, I'm injured. Like, just relax. Relax there, Charlie Brown. Relax. But major injuries, I've only had one major injury in 38 years. So if you're picking up a lot of major injuries, you might want to get a coach. Next up, realistic food routine that can be implemented for the long haul. You got to start, look, if you want to build a realistic food routine, you got to start with, don't do somebody else's meal plan. Write down the protein foods you like, okay? Write it down right now. What real protein foods are like? Maybe I like pork loin, maybe I like steelhead trout, maybe I like tuna, maybe I like whey protein powder. Write down the protein choices you like, okay? And then write down the plant-based choices you like. I like oranges, I like blackberries, I like asparagus, okay? I like rice, I like black beans. Okay, now you got a pool of stuff, and you can head over. See this box right here? This box is called YouTube, okay? You can get out of this box called YouTube, or you can stay in this box called YouTube, and you can search black bean and rice and pork recipes. Or you can just cook all three and put them together and put a little salt and pepper and hot sauce on there, and a little jalapeno peppers, and you'll be fine. But that's what you do. Generally, you got to start with the foods you like and then try to find super simple combinations, right? All right, next. Everything they said. Okay. We're almost done. People who recommend shitty feather light pump workouts to natural lifters. Yeah, you can't just do only shitty feather light pump workouts. You can pumpy all you want, but that's not gonna build muscle in the long run. Why is it confusing? Because there's just ignorant fuckers out there that don't know what the hell they're doing, and they're pulling shit out of their ass to try to impress you. All right, next, troubleshooting what factors are preventing progression. Watch for the basics. Analyze the basics. Are you being consistent? Are you being consistent with your nutrition? Are you crushing your sleep? Do you have a reasonable exercise selection? Do you have a reasonable amount of volume? Do you have some sort of progression approach? Are you controlling the weight rather than just having a seizure in the gym? All these kind of things are important. Is your form down for each lift? When things aren't working, we have to look at the basics. All right, here we go. In the very beginning, progression overload itself. Not so much that it's confusing. I simply thought I could just do whatever until I was tired without any specific goals. Yeah, training until you're tired isn't progressive overload. That's like trying to go out and run until you drop dead every day. That's not a plan, right? That's like I'm going to go out and kill myself today. Let's see how that go, right? That's not a plan. Progressive overload, you want to push yourself safely for as many quality reps as you can, stopping that set when you feel like you might fail on the next rep or when form wants to break down. We want to train wise and smart and slow and steady and try to improve over where we were last time. All right, eating is the hardest by far. I would say eating consistently is hard for a lot of people because they don't take it seriously. So it is pretty simple. You just need to eat a consistent calorie level, weigh yourself every other day or something like that, and make adjustments to make sure your bulk is on track. Tracking progress. Here's the next one that's confusing. Tracking progress. Get strong workout tracker. Put in your exercise. Put in your weight. Put in your reps. And then when you come in the gym next time, it shows you on the screen right here what you had, and then you can try to improve by +1. Okay? All right, we're almost done. A couple more left. The balance between muscle building, strength building, and tendon adaptation. Overthinking alert. Overthinking alert. You don't have to worry about tendon adaptation. Like, no one ever know that's successful. But I'm like, wonder all my tendon adaptation. It's like, I'm not ripping on you, dude, but you probably got this from somebody that was trying to sound smart on this box here called YouTube. And you don't need to fucking worry about tendon adaptation. You're not going to kill yourself. Just train wisely, smart, intelligently. Strength training and muscle building are the same thing. All right. That people don't understand it. Man, you know what? You take like 5,000 people out there right now searching for muscle building on YouTube, and probably about 5 of them are going to get the results that everybody wants. Just because they're not going to do the basics. All right, last question. eating the right amount to build muscle without becoming a fatso. It's super simple, super simple. You have to have a consistent calorie intake. You have to watch the scale. You have to adjust the calories based on what the scale is doing. When you get to about a 10-pound gain after 3, 4, 5 months, then you do a mini cut and you go back to a 10-pound gain. I like to set a 10-pound gain limiter, and then when we get to 10 pounds, then we do a mini cut and then we re-rack. Oh, I think I just gave my eyeball a paper cut. So guys, hope this video has been of some help. If you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. If you made it this far in this video and have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do. I'd appreciate the support. And fucking join Team Massive. It'll be the best decision you made today. So guys, as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day.